Hey, what's going on guys? This is Miasen and welcome to my new card review video, which is going to be on Forbidden Droplet. But before we start, friendly reminder to like and subscribe because it motivates me a lot to keep making videos like these. And yeah, so Forbidden Drop is a quick play spell card that allows you to negate monster effects and have their attack equal to the amount of cards that you're willing to send from your hand or field to the graveyard. Well, hand and or field, so you can actually go for multiples. And these changes last until the end phase, and your opponent cannot respond with card types that match the type of card that you actually send from the hand or field to the graveyard. So let's just say you send 3 monsters from your hand to the graveyard. You can negate 3 monster effects and then have the attack of these 3 monsters as well. They cannot respond with monster effects, and if you go for 1 monster, 1 spell, and 1 trap, then they cannot respond with anything at all because you pretty much just went for, like, you know, for the whole trinity. So no monster effects, no spells, no traps. They can't respond with that to Forbidden Droplet. Now, the reason why this card is really important is because going first, it acts as an interruption, and going second, it acts like as a pseudo Dark Ruler no more, I guess you can say. So, like, yeah, sure, I think the card is extremely expensive, and it should maybe drop down a bit. Well, I mean, I hope, because it's, you know, it is a chase card, but it is a good card, and it is expensive for a good reason. First of all, the fact that it doesn't target allows you to out-dragoon, which is, I keep saying this, and I'm going to keep saying this, is supposed to be like one of the biggest problems in Yu-Gi-Oh! I mean, in the OCG, I think it's kind of seeing less play right now, but for some reason. I mean, I guess they're just creating more cards that allow you to out stuff without targeting. I mean, Forbidden Drop, you know, 3 Tactical Talents, the the Dragma Hand Trap Fleur de Lis. Yeah, I still think it's Fleur de Lis, man. I don't know, some people actually argued with me, they think it's Fleur de Lis. I'm not too sure, so I have to recheck. And there's also Shadow Rook, because it's actually a dark. Dragoon is a dark, so there's that. Also, another really cool thing about this card is that it has a really cool interaction, I guess, with spell cards that are already, like, being activated. I mean, they're already on the field. Let's just say you go, like, activate Upstart Goblin. You can chain Forbidden Drop and send the Upstart that is, like, resolving on the field. And for, like, you can do that for 1 extra interruption. And you can do this for, let's just say, like, a whole field of trap cards. You can go, like, activate Compulse, activate, like, I don't know, Dragma Punishment, like, another Compulse. And then you go Forbidden Drop, send all my 3 traps that I just activated alongside, like, 1 monster from your hand or field to the graveyard. Then negate, like, freaking 4 monster effects your opponent controls, and then after that, since all of their effects are negated, then all of your traps will resolve successfully. So it doesn't really matter if your opponent has like 5 negates. If you play this in Altergeist and you play a lot of like really proactive spot removal trap cards, you can easily just break like a full board. I'm going to make a video like just on Altergeist later on, so stay tuned for that. Another really cool thing is that the drawback, like the quote-unquote drawback, the cost of the card, is sending cards from your hand and field to the graveyard. Now, usually that would be, you know, that would be expensive if you have to send like a lot of cards, right? But there, like, I can think of a lot of decks that actually just trigger really good effects, or just do this in a way that it doesn't really bother them too much. Like in Zodiac, you can send like your dead Tenkies, and you know, after like turn 2 or turn 3s, they're like, I mean, turn 3, there are usually a lot of, you know, dead Tenkies, or like just dead cards that you don't really need, like a lot of monsters that you get back with like Laika, or, you know, just hand traps that aren't really doing anything. Now that you just have like a generic way to like get rid of them, it's just better. So it makes pretty much every card in your hand live in a way. Let's just say you're playing Orchest, and you just, the only thing that you really want is to get those Orchest Nightmares and those Symbol Skeletons in the grave. Well, now you have a way to not only do that, but also to break your opponent's board, so why not? And also remember that halving the attack of monsters allows you to use cards during the damage step, because it falls under the category of negating activations, halving the attack, I mean, modifying stats of a monster, etc. So that actually does matter, because sometimes you don't necessarily want to be able to, like, you don't want to send like a monster. So I mean, you can like just send like a spell or trap, negate like a Hot Red, for example, which negates only the effect, and they cannot respond with that because Hot Red negates the effect and not the activation, so that cannot be used during the damage step. So that's a really neat play that people don't necessarily are aware of. But yeah, imagine like playing this card in like Burning Abyss, Cyber Dragons, and yeah, like I said, Orchest. But I mean, in Cyber Dragons, there is like Hers that you can send. And then obviously there's your dead Cyber Dragons that you really want to get into the grave so you can do like a huge overflow, because believe it or not, like this card is the reason why I started playing Cyber Dragons again, because before this card I really thought that Cyber Dragons wouldn't have any potential in the upcoming format, But now there are new cards that just make Cyber Dragon traps, by the way, like significantly better. But honestly, even in like Cyber Dragon OTK, this card is still ridiculously good. Speaking of OTK, this card is actually really good in OTK decks because unlike Dark Ruler No More, this card doesn't have any drawbacks of you cannot deal damage for the rest of the turn. So not only does it not have that drawback, but also it helps you get to that OTK, because now your opponent's monsters have like significantly less attack, so you can really use both effects at your full advantage. So that's definitely something to take in mind when you're deck building. And also it's a quick play spell card, not a normal spell card, so you can just main deck it, who cares, whatever. They make you go first, you just set it. You can just use the effect for like just negate one card if you want to. I mean, discarding, or I mean sending from your hand or field to the graveyard only one card isn't really a problem. And another like scenario where sending cards can be really beneficial is, let's say your opponent has like skill drain, or he's trying to infinite your monster. You can actually just send your monster that is being negated for cost, and it's going to no longer be on the field when it resolves. So it's just, how can it not resolve if the monster is not on the field, right? The effect is going to be resolving, and that is one way that Orchest players are trying to play around skill drain right now in the OCG, because they do have 3 skill drains, and that's really scary. So I know that people are using like Dean Girsu's effect, which sends without targeting, once again, like really unfair, right? And then they're just chaining like forbidden drop and negating like anything. It doesn't matter, right? Unlike 3 tactical talents in the OCG, this is really considered like a staple, really not a tech. I always said this at the beginning, but this card will probably see play in most decks in the game. Like trap decks can use this, Altergeist for example, Cyber Dragons can use this. I don't know about Paleozoic because the card economy is not that great. It's not like Altergeist where after one turn of setting up, you just go like plus 10 billion. I mean, your Dupe Frog, is it going to even miss timing if you send it from the field? I mean, don't try to send like a Dupe Frog from your field to the grave, it's just really nuggy. But anyways, I mean, who even plays Paleozoic in 2020? Yeah, I personally think this card is going to be game-changing for Yu-Gi-Oh! Like completely. It's going to be a brand new staple that will force people to play in a different way. The thing is, if you're playing a combo deck, you can't just say, oh, okay, I'm gonna make less negates to play around Forbidden Droplet. Like, how does this really help you? And if you go like Curious Send, like Solemn Judgment, and then try to get it back, or like Imperial Order, well, remember that you can just send like a trap card, so your opponent cannot respond with trap cards as well. So, you know, the player who is trying to play around good players can also be a good player himself, and just, you know, counter to the card. So I think this card just has like limitless potential, and it's just a matter of time before people realize it. And this is why I think this card is significantly better than 3 tactical talents. I know once again a lot of people are having this like debate, like, is this card on the same level? Is this card worse? Is this card better? It really does depend, to be honest, on your deck and on the situation, because 3 tactical talents has the potential to be like one of the best spell cards in the game, just like it can be one of the worst ones. Like against Zexal, it just stays in your hand, you can't use it. Even though they use the monster effect, you cannot use it. It can get ashed. This card cannot get ashed. I mean, Book of Eclipse is a spell card that breaks boards and can get ashed because it makes your opponent draw cards during the end phase. It's really stupid, I know, but yeah. Anyways, that's pretty much all I had to say for this card review video on Forbidden Droplet. If you guys have any comments or feedback, let me know in the comment section below. As you can see, by the way, new lights again. I mean, the floodlights have changed, but apart from that, I didn't really get anything new. But yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe because it motivates me a lot to keep making videos like these, and that's pretty much all I had to say. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace!